Okay, so good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining this session webinar with our university partner. We have Mr. Fadi, who is a renowned educator in this industry with over a decade experience in overseas education. Based out in Canada, he has come up and shared some time with us to take us through on the importance of the universities in Canada, in particularly to University of Victoria and University of Alberta. So thank you so much, Paddy, for taking out time.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Ankit. And thank you, everybody, for listening in. I know some of you are watching this recording as well. So thank you for taking time. Very excited to be joining you today to tell you about Canada. I know there's a lot of news around what's happening in Canada and all the policy changes. So I'm excited to be able to help you navigate some of that this morning.
Exactly. So my first question revolves around the same thing because in India we have been hearing a lot of Canadian news. The entire year was like full of updates and news coming from Canada. Lot of positive news also came during this entire year, which will definitely help the upcoming students to plan effectively and be a successful international student in Canada. So related to this, my first questions to you is like, with all the PGWP changes and updates, specifically from IRCC, now coming down in a clarity and, it's on the table for everyone. What, according to you, still are the key factors which an international student should choose to study in Canada?
Great question, Ankit. And I think the beginning of the policy changes, I believe I was with you in India just about a week before the January 22nd policy announcement came out. So yeah, we've been navigating about a year now of these policy changes. And what I do want to remind students is that yes, there are policy changes. There are policies that are put in place to streamline international education in this country as well. But the message from us is that Canada is still open, Canada is still welcoming, Canada is still friendly to international students. And that's the message that I'll repeat over and over again, Ankit, today. Um, you know, our welcome nature, our friendliness to international students, our high level of education has not changed. The policies around that might have changed and have changed, but our level of dedication to international students have not changed. So at Kaplan, Canada, our portfolio includes the University of Alberta and the University of Victoria. From our standpoint, the postgraduate work permit changes don't affect the programs that we are offering at both institutions. And I think you'll give me some time to talk about both later on and what kind of program offering. But given that we work with public research institutions in Canada, the postgraduate work permit limits and the prioritized degrees that the new PGWP policy has in place does not affect our programming. So students can still look forward to being eligible to apply for a postgraduate work permit throughout all our programs. So the program restrictions are basically for different programs and colleges, but not on the university level. So from our end, what we've been telling students, and I was just traveling and meeting with students and parents as well. What we're telling them is our programs are still the same. There are no changes around the PGWP. Our provincial attestation letters that they're used to from the January 22nd announcement still remain the same. So a lot of the students that apply to our programs know that there are provincial attestation letters available. That after paying their deposit, they're able to get those provincial attestation letters usually within 24 to 48 hours. So from that landscape and the partners that we partner with at Kaplan, we're confident in what we have, and we're confident telling students, look, you can be you're safe in choosing our degrees given the current policy changes.
Absolutely. Thanks for bringing more light on this. I'm sure the students who are aspiring to study in particularly university are safe with all the postgraduate work permit options available in Canada. Moving ahead, like I request you to put some more light on the particular products which Kaplan has, University of Victoria and University of Alberta. I know both are like highly ranked in Canada, but we would like to hear it from you.
Absolutely. The University of Victoria was our first partner here in Canada. So a lot of you watching, you probably know us, Kaplan in Canada, being with University of Victoria. The University of Victoria is located in Victoria, British Columbia, the capital of BC. So while many of you know Vancouver, a lot of people forget that Victoria is where the government is, and that's the capital. Victoria is on Vancouver Island, so about an 11-minute flight or about an hour and a half ferry ride from Vancouver. So, look, Victoria, what we call and what we've been calling UVic is Canada's best kept secret. A beautiful medium-sized university, research-intensive university, where through our Kaplan partnership, students are welcome in undergraduate. We have some graduate programs as well available at UVic. Amazing co-op opportunities. Actually, one of the oldest co-op programs. And for those of you watching that don't know what co-op is, those are paid internships that are built in to your degree. Really important. Ankit, you asked me in the last bit, what should students look for? Look for programs that have co-op in them. So UVic has co-op throughout all of its programs. Actually, our engineering program has a mandatory co-op component where students can earn up to $50,000 throughout their co-op time. So that's UVic, capital of BC. Victoria is also a tech hub in the province, so tech has been a big deal to that city. A lovely medium-sized university, I would say a medium-sized city. Students will feel very welcome. They'll be able to adapt to their life here in Canada, and some of the best weather in the country. So much less rain than Vancouver. If you know Vancouver is rainy, Victoria has about 60% less rain on average than Vancouver. Our latest program that we're offering and our latest partner is the University of Alberta. So at the University of Alberta, we are running the University of Alberta Year One Foundation program. This program was designed by U of A in order to provide students, better entry points into their degree. It was designed for students with possible course deficiencies that they can build those courses throughout that program. Now, it may be called foundation program, but it's not a pre-university program. It's a first-year program. It's the first year of the four-year degree at the U of A, and it's designed by U of A. All the instructors are facilitated by the University of Alberta. It's on campus at the U of A. So it's a program that they designed themselves that they're working with us on running. On the Kaplan side, Ankit, you know our Kaplan way of doing things and supporting students and building student communities. That's what we're providing in that first year. We're providing the wraparound supports, the allowing students to build that community, really giving them a soft landing into their four-year degree. So really proud of that program. It provides access to a university that's a top 100 university, number 96 in the world, number 4 in Canada. So really proud of our offerings. They do look different in different cities and in different parts of the country. So there's lots of choice for students that are looking at undergraduate level studies to look at Kaplan's portfolio here in Canada.
Great. Since you mentioned about the ranking, so I would like to highlight few of the ranking which are mentioned for UWIC and University of Alberta for everybody in the audience. Is number one Canadian Comprehensive University for graduate employability. So UWIC has this kind of a ranking in Canada. Number one in Canada for making research accessible to the public. This is really important, guys, because as Paddy has mentioned in his few minutes back, like both the universities are research oriented, and the students who graduate from this have high chance of getting employable as compared to the students who are getting graduate from a public college or other public universities. Then we also know that UVic is number one in North America for international research collaboration, top 10 sustainable index ranking for air and climate in North America. So these are for UVic and plus University of Alberta, just to reiterate everybody. It is like, one of the top five Canadian university in Canada, plus top 100 in the world. So the ranking speaks a lot. Uh, I want to understand, like, Paddy, a lot of students decide in particular about the ranking. They go with the ranking. What, according to you, distinguish both UVic and University of Alberta apart from the ranking which they have? And in case the student takes up these kind of the program which are offered by the university, how important or like life changing experience they will be getting in these top Canadian universities?
Absolutely. And you mentioned on the ranking and research specifically. Look, ranking is important because it allows that university, or it tells you that the university is attracting talent when it comes to their professors and their researchers that are at a very high level. Now, a lot of students in the undergraduate level don't think of research because research is thought of as something that you do when you're doing your master's or PhD. Both institutions that we have do undergraduate research. So it's not that this research piece is going to be housed in just a master's program or a PhD program. You're actually doing research in the undergraduate level. Really important to do that. It gets you in certain programs in science, for example, it gets you in a lab with a researcher that's working on something that's relevant, that's happening today, not something from a textbook that happened 10 or 15 years ago. So the rankings that you see when you're looking at rankings, they provide that piece of excellence. Rankings, as you mentioned, Ankit, in various areas, right? Employability rankings are really important because it means your institution is focused on employability. If you look at UVic, one of the oldest co-op programs in the country, the programs are designed to get you a job after graduation, right? Co-op in both UVic and the University of Alberta is available in all faculties. Again, really important that just because you're an arts student doesn't mean that you're not getting that work experience. The ranking as well. So if I was to look at the University of Alberta or U of A, really important. They're trying to be a leader in artificial intelligence. They have, an artificial intelligence course that is offered to students in the undergraduate level as well, that allows you to learn about AI in whatever faculty you are studying. So rankings are important on the research side, of course. Rankings are important on the employability side, but it also allows the university more access globally. It brings in talent from across the world, not just from Canada. It attracts a certain level of student as well. So I think looking at rankings at both institutions and the fact that we're partnered with two really highly ranked institutions in the country is really important. It's really important for our students. And I do want to remind students, especially at the University of Alberta, you're looking at a top 100 university, but with the program that we've just launched, you have access to a top 100 university, which is a really big deal in this country. This is, one of, this is an opportunity that you won't have elsewhere here in Canada.
Absolutely. So I totally agree with you. The excellence speaks a lot about these two universities. Being ranked, top ranked, both the universities, what is the typical class size both the universities maintain? Because a good class size, faculty student ratio maintains a good quality of education. The reaching out from student to faculty is also very approachable thing. So what is the
Yeah.
class size here?
Great question. Look, Canadian universities can range in size from somewhere 3,000 to 80,000 students. University of Victoria is about 22,000 students. So it's a medium-sized university where you do have, it feels like a good-sized community. You have access to your instructors, you have access to your international center advisors, to advisors in general. Classes usually at the UVic range in size in that first year. What usually happens with Canadian universities is that your classes in the first year tend to be a little bit bigger. So everybody wants to do a first year psychology class. That's probably going to be your class that has, 70 to 80 students in it. But as you go deeper into the years and as you go more into your program, your classes might look like between 30 or 20, depending on what program you are at. So First year classes might be a little bit bigger, but remember at UVic, it's a medium-sized university. You're not on campus with 80,000 students. The feedback that we get from our students at UVic is that it's really easy to build community at the University of Victoria. And it's really easy to build community with people from around the world, not just the community that you're coming from. The other thing at UVic that I really like to mention is about 78% of our students are from outside of Victoria. So we're a destination university, not just for international students, for Canadian students as well. And that's really important because as an international student, you'll probably be sitting with a Canadian student that's also away from their home, maybe 2 or 3 provinces away, that is also away from mom and dad, that is also navigating doing laundry or going to find food that they're used to. So that also builds community. I find that a really good stat to remind students of that we are a destination university at UVic. On the other side at the University of Alberta, through the program that we're running, class sizes will tend to be around 30 students per class in that first year, really providing you close access to your instructors, close access to the program staff that we have in place. So our student experience folks, our program director, in that first year, you're obviously on campus at our North campus, but your classes will be in one of the buildings. So you'll be together and be able to build that community. So smaller class sizes in the first year really because that program is designed to give you a soft landing into Canada and into education at UVic.
Great. I think you have already talked about the community which both the universities are building. So related to it, I wanted to understand, like, a lot of students nowadays are asking about those universities where they can diverse with other international students coming from different part of the country, different part of the globe, I would say. They don't just want to stick around with their Indian population or something with the South Asian population, maybe. You have already mentioned a lot of Canadians also are coming from different provinces to study in UVic. So what all other countries are coming to, study here?
Great question. So yeah, I mentioned UVic as a destination university. That's the number one thing that we get from students is that I met students from across Canada and across the world. Again, the size of the institution is perfect for getting you used to meeting other people from across the globe. So we have students from the Middle East, we have students from Africa, we have students from China, we have students from Turkey across the globe. Really, really diverse population. And then a diverse Canadian population of students that are from, my home province of Manitoba, for example, that are choosing UVic for its ranking and moving to Victoria. So that's on the UVic side. On the U of A side, again, the same. We have a really diverse student body. So our student body is actually made up of students from, again, the Middle East. We have students from China. We have students from Vietnam. We have students from Africa as well. So again, a really diverse student body at both institutions, which is really important for us. We also at U of A and UVic have students that have possibly studied high school, international students that have studied high school here in Canada and are pursuing their undergraduate degree. So I would confidently say you're not going to be stuck to your own people from your own country. Both institutions really strive at getting you out into the community, getting you to build community that's outside of your community. But we also celebrate your community as well. So we do have celebrations from different backgrounds. We do try to do in our residence at U of A, for example, you can suggest in their suggestion box a meal. You can leave a recipe of a meal that's from your home country that you really like, and the staff there might cook it as one of the rotations for everybody. So trying to celebrate your culture, but really getting you integrated with the wider community that's there.
Well, that's so amazing. Since Diwali is just around the corner, I'm sure the universities would be celebrating it.
Oh, absolutely. And you'll probably see it on some of our social media channels as well.
Yeah, definitely. Uh, my next question is, since you have been in all your life in Canada, you have lived in different parts, traveled across the globe. How do you see what are the sectors which are tend to grow in Canada? Why I am asking this is because whenever students choose to study any program, they want to see what kind of a sectors are growing in that particular country. And can you also relate it to what kind of a programs both the universities are offering so that the student also feel safe when they graduate, they can get a better job in that particular sector?
Absolutely. Look, when I'm advising students, I always like to know what they are passionate about. Yes, it's important that you choose a job in a sector that's growing or a job in a sector with jobs. But if you choose a degree or program that you are passionate about, that you're good about, you're way more likely to be successful in that degree. So I'll just flip that question a little bit. Both universities have co-op in all their faculties. So you will have co-op experiential learning, so on. You'll have job experience in whatever you're studying. Currently, the sectors that we're seeing as the most popular are sectors that are in tech and IT. That's kind of what's popular at UVic. What's really nice between computing science and engineering, they're both housed in the same faculty. So usually in Canada, computing science ends up being in a science faculty, and engineering is on its standalone engineering faculty. At UVic, both tend to work together. There's a lot of cross work that's happening between computer science and engineering. That tends to be one of our most popular programs going forward in grad and undergrad as well. So that sector is really important and growing. UVic as well, the engineering faculty has mandatory co-op. So the job placement rate in engineering and computing science is really high. That's not to say that our social sciences or business and so on are not popular as well, but that's a sector that certainly we see growing across the country. If you look at the new postgraduate work permit policies for the college sector, you'll see STEM is a big deal. It features really well there as well. At the University of Alberta, while science and computing science is extremely popular as well with students, our Alberta School of Business, so yesterday I was in a session with the Alberta School of Business, has really high job placement rates, especially for co-op students, in the high 90s, but for non-co-op students as well. So the School of Business is also still popular in U of A. Um, Computing science and other STEM fields tend to be popular as well, but business is also one that we highlight. But I would also, advise you to look at what's popular in the province that you are studying. In Alberta, for example, agriculture is a big deal.
Exactly.
That's a big part of the community. Agriculture and oil and gas are a big deal in that province. So if I was advising you across the board, look at what the institution in your province offers as well, because that might be tailored to the province. Job prospects might be higher as well. In Victoria, there's we're surrounded by an ocean. So there's a lot of those biological fields as well that might not be available elsewhere in the country because of where we are. So really important to look for your passion. That's still, I'm going to maintain that. Your mom and dad might want you to do something, but really good to look at what you're passionate about. But STEM is really a big deal, and it's been growing in this country.
Great. I think that's what like IRCC also has planned for the colleges, and they have mentioned it categorically: STEM, trade, agriculture, and all. Uh, Coming to the next question, like when it comes to university, we have seen universities in Canada has been generous in providing financial aids to the students, to the deserving students, obviously. So, what kind of scholarships are available for the students who aspire to study in University of Victoria and University of Alberta?
Great question. And I think I just want to touch on the co-op piece as well, because that tends to be something that's important as well. So I'm just going to give you some figures. At the University of Victoria, an engineering co-op student that does the entire co-op program is earning up to 50,000 Canadian dollars in that co-op experience. A University of Alberta student that's in the Alberta School of Business co-op program, on average, they're earning about 63,000 Canadian dollars. So don't just look at scholarships as oh, I want that scholarship. Co-op provides again that paid experience. You're getting your experience in your job, and you're getting paid for it. On the financial support, the University of Victoria does have scholarships available in the first year. So a $10,000 scholarship is available to international students. That gets assessed according to your grades. It's purely on merit, on what you're bringing in. So the $10,000 scholarship, we assess you on it. You don't have to apply for it. If you are eligible, you get that scholarship. So that's something that our students really benefit from. At the U of A, in the first year or just upon entrance, we have a various list of scholarships that are smaller scholarships to get you in, but we have progression scholarships at the U of A. So going from year one to year two, there will be some $10,000 progression scholarships as well available, again based on your merit, again something we assess you. As any Canadian university person that you've probably interviewed, Ankit, and sits in front of you says, there are many scholarships available in your faculties according to what you do, according to your community service, and that stands at both our institutions. There's certainly scholarships in year 2, 3, and 4. But what I do want to raise again is that co-op piece. Working while you're studying, and you're not just getting minimum wage here is really important. You may be hearing all this news about finding jobs in Canada, or it's really hard to work in Canada as an international student, and so on. And that's something that us universities and as Kaplan, working with our university partners, we want to remind students of that. We have our undergraduate degrees have co-op components that put you in a job while you are studying. So there might be a lot of news around, but our students are highly employed. They're doing an undergraduate degree that's important to their different fields in this country, and there are job opportunities throughout your studies and after you complete your studies.
Great. I think rightly mentioned, because a lot of students just miss out on the co-op part. What we have also felt while we counseling a lot of students from different parts. Co-op definitely gives an edge over the scholarship because they make you ready with the Canadian work experience. So we would highly recommend the students to take up such kind of a program at UWIC and University of Alberta. Moving ahead, lastly, in fact, I would like to take your advice, because you have been in Canada, you are a true Canadian. What advice you would like to give to the students who are preparing to move to Canada to study, considering lot of things has happened during this entire year? And we are also sure, like, Canada is the second largest country in the world. And what is your perspective, like, how accommodating Canada can be for an international student?
Yeah, great. I opened, I think this interview was saying we're
Yes,
still
exactly.
welcome, we're still friendly, we're still looking for international students. That stands. We are still a welcoming and friendly country, regardless of what policies are in place, whether it is to streamline our industry or to really support students even further. I want to remind you that yes, there's a lot of news around. But really, come to the source, talk to us that are in the field, that work with, Canadian universities. That's your source for what's happening. So there might be a lot of news around, and as you're advising students, the fact that they're coming to you, that's much better than just reading a news story. And that's what I would suggest for students and parents looking to study in Canada. On Canada is still welcoming. Canada still has great programs, across the board in our offerings. The new policy changes are designed to streamline the sector and provide you a better experience as you are studying. As public research universities, the ones that we partner with, we are still focused on bringing in international students, getting them to be part of our student body. We have things in place that help support you. So you may be hearing that housing is a big issue. Both our university partners have guaranteed housing on campus for undergraduate students, right? So if you're really stressed about housing, we have guaranteed housing on campus. If you're really stressed about finding jobs, we spent the whole time here talking about co-op
Yeah.
and jobs and placing you in jobs. If you're really stressed about your postgraduate work permit, the current policy protects the public research universities, as our universities are. Do your research, certainly, but don't get stuck in that news cycle. Coming to you, folks at Keith and your team at AECC is really important because you have direct access to us. We can give you the right information. You can help advising students. So again, really important to do your research, really important to continue considering Canada. We are still welcoming, we're still safe, we're still here accepting international students. We haven't stopped, we will not stop. And just understanding the policies and getting the right understanding of them in order to plan for your future. I would add also look for what you are passionate about, right? Going to a program that you're not passionate about, that you don't want to do, that's where working in that field might be a little bit difficult or a little bit stressful. If you're passionate about something and you enjoy it, working in that field will become really powerful for you and put you on a path to success. So my message, we're still here. We're still welcoming and safe. Yes, we have new policies, but we can help you navigate through them. And our university partners, the University of Alberta and University of Victoria, would be a great choice to start your life here in Canada.
Great. I think the message is clear to everybody. Don't simply rely on the viral news or Instagram post. They
Yeah.
should definitely come to a reliable agency or a consultant based in India, as we are in as AECC. Because as rightly mentioned by Paddy, we have the direct access to all the universities because all these universities in Canada, UVic, University of Alberta, are direct partners to us. They trust us, we trust them. That's why we have a great association. We have been sending the students to the best of the institutions. So that is from my side also. Thank you so much, Paddy, and thank you so much, Sharad, for joining this session and helping our student understand how a Canadian university experience will make their lives change and be a successful international student in Canada.
Thank you so much, Ankit, and thank you everybody that's watching. Our applications are open for January 2025 at U of A and UVic, and as well for September 2025. So get on those applications early, get your visas in early. Really important to get you into Canada next year. Thank you, Ankit, for all your support.
Thank you so much, Patty. Rightly said, applications for both the universities are open. Please touch base with your AECC counselor. We will shortly engage with you guys. We'll send you the emailers and the video of this session. Touch base with us and send in your application. The offer letter type is also very, very, less, I would say. I think just within some days. Patty, would you like to highlight it also?
That's why Sharad is here.
Sure.
Sharad is on our admissions team here. So the offer letter, Sharad's team has a great turnaround time for the offer letter. For U of A, we turn around offers within 24 to 48 hours. So really quick,
24 hours.
get in those applications. Yeah, his team works hard to get your offer in 24 hours. So you'll have an offer in front of you. You'll get to know what program you're going into, and you can begin planning your future.
Great. Thank you so much, Fadi and Sharad, for the support. And thank you to all of who all have been, watching this video. We'll be sharing the links with everybody soon. Thank you again.